Nia, a strikingly beautiful girl from the rural village of Kimwani, carried a secret that felt heavier than the sun-drenched sky above her. At only 19, her beauty was the talk of the village. Her skin glowed like polished ebony. Her eyes held the depth of rivers, and her laughter could light up even the darkest of days. But behind her radiant smile was a storm brewing, a secret that could shatter her world and bring shame to her conservative family. Raised by devout Christian parents, Nia's upbringing was steeped in discipline and faith. Her father, Mazi Baraka, was a respected elder, and her mother, Mama Rehema, led the women's prayer group at the local church. Their expectations of Nia were clear. She was to uphold the family's name and values at all costs. However, during her final year of high school, Nia had met Mazi Juma's younger brother, Uncle Dowdy, a man known for his charm and sophistication. Despite being much older, Uncle Dowdy's attention made Nia feel special and desired in ways she had never experienced before. Their connection was intoxicating, and what began as innocent conversations soon spiraled into a forbidden affair. When Nia discovered she was pregnant, her world crumbled. She was gripped by fear, shame, and confusion. How could she tell her parents? How could she face the judgmental whispers of the villagers? In her panic, she resolved to hide the pregnancy, a decision that would set off a chain of events darker than she could have ever imagined. Nia's strategy was meticulous. She began wearing loose-fitting clothes and avoided the company of those who might notice the subtle changes in her body. She feigned sickness to explain her lack of appetite and avoided the church choir practices she once loved. Her mother's watchful eyes often lingered on her, but Nia always managed to deflect suspicion with well-crafted excuses. Uncle Dowdy, on the other hand, had become distant since learning about the pregnancy. His initial promises of support turned into avoidance, leaving Nia feeling abandoned and betrayed. She bore the weight of their actions alone, each day feeling like a ticking time bomb. As the months passed, Nia grew increasingly withdrawn. Her parents attributed her behavior to the pressures of school, but whispers began circulating among the villagers. Some suspected she was hiding something, while others dismissed it as baseless gossip. Nia's resolve to keep her secret intact only deepened, even as her guilt gnawed at her soul. The night of her labor arrived under the cover of a fierce storm. Lightning split the sky as Nia writhed in pain in the small hut she had prepared for herself, deep in the forest. She had refused to let anyone accompany her, claiming she needed solitude to focus on her studies. Alone and terrified, she brought a new life into the world, a baby boy whose cries pierced the stillness of the night. But instead of feeling joy or relief, Nia was overcome with despair. In her panic, she decided to do the unthinkable. Wrapping the baby in an old cloth, she made her way to the village's church compound, where Pastor Nathan and his wife, Mama Faith, lived. The pastor's pit latrine seemed like the only place to hide her shame. Trembling, she lowered the baby into the pit and walked away, tears streaming down her face as she whispered a prayer for forgiveness. She returned home, her body aching and her heart shattered, believing she had buried her secret forever. The next morning, Mama Faith awoke early to prepare for the day. As she approached the latrine, she heard a faint, heart-wrenching cry. At first, she thought it was her imagination, but as she listened closer, her heart raced. There was no mistaking it. A baby was crying. Panicking, she called for Pastor Nathan, who rushed to her side. The couple peered into the pit, their hearts sinking at the sight of the helpless infant struggling to survive. News of the discovery spread like wildfire through the village, drawing a crowd of shocked and horrified onlookers. The village elders convened an emergency meeting, demanding answers. Who could commit such an atrocious act? The villagers' anger and fear grew as they speculated about the culprit. Meanwhile, Nia's guilt became unbearable. She avoided the gathering, locking herself in her room as her mother knocked on the door, pleading for her to come out. Pastor Nathan and Mama Faith took the baby to the local clinic, where he was declared miraculously unharmed despite his ordeal. The couple decided to care for the child until his mother came forward, unaware that the truth lay closer than they imagined. As days turned into weeks, the mystery of the baby's origins consumed the village. Rumors spread, fingers pointed, and families clashed. The once tight-knit community was now divided by suspicion and mistrust. Naya watched in silence, the weight of her secret threatening to crush her. But secrets have a way of surfacing, and Nia's was no exception. A chance encounter with Mama Faith would set the stage for an explosive revelation that would change the course of her life forever. Nia's meeting with Mama Faith becomes the tipping point as her guilt overwhelms her. In a deeply emotional scene, Nia confesses her actions and reveals Uncle Dowdy's role in the pregnancy. The revelation shocks Mama Faith, who encourages Nia to face the community and seek redemption. The village elders, led by Mzee Baraka, convene to deliberate on the situation. Nia's confession forces them to grapple with their own biases and the consequences of rigid societal norms. The community is divided. Some call for punishment, while others advocate for understanding and forgiveness. Uncle Dowdy's involvement comes to light, leading to heated confrontations within the family. Mzee Juma is torn between loyalty to his brother and the betrayal of his family's trust. The village's perception of Uncle Dowdy shifts as his charismatic facade crumbles. The villagers debate who should care for the baby, now named Baraka, after Nia's father. Pastor Nathan and Mama Faith offer to adopt the child, but Nia is torn between letting go and taking responsibility for her son. Nia begins the long journey of rebuilding her life. She faces the villagers' judgment with newfound courage, inspired by Mama Faith's unwavering support. Uncle Dowdy's exile from the village marks a turning point in the community's reckoning with its values. Through counseling and faith, Nia seeks forgiveness from her parents and the community. Her vulnerability inspires others to confront their own hidden struggles, fostering a spirit of compassion and understanding. Nia bonds with Baraka, discovering the depth of a mother's love. Her transformation from a frightened girl to a resilient woman becomes a source of inspiration for the village. The community rallies around Nia and Baraka, symbolizing a new era of unity and support. Pastor Nathan's sermons on forgiveness and love resonate deeply, bridging divides and healing old wounds. Years later, Nia reflects on her journey as she watches Baraka grow into a spirited and kind-hearted boy. The village, once fractured, thrives as a close-knit community bound by shared experiences and renewed faith. Nia's story becomes a testament to the power of resilience, love, and the unyielding spirit of hope.